All right, well, you'll have to excuse the mess. I'm going to have to rebuild the RC Nightmare studio. I forgot just how much room this takes up. So I've shoved all my computer stuff aside to try and get at this behemoth. So I was talking to the folks at Hobbytown where I bought this about, wow, how much has really changed in the last 2 years? I don't know, is everything going to be different? To be honest, it looks like I'm coming back at a good time because it doesn't appear like a ton has changed over the past few years. And I didn't really want to rebuy anything I already had, especially, for the purpose of restarting the channel. So we talk about, these are all the things that are obviously on the box. We have the T-Lock, just like the Summit. We've got the high range, low range transmission. So we got the high-low gear, which is pretty awesome. Metal gear, digital servo. We've got the torque twist eliminated by having the axial gear reduction portals. We've got the S1 compound 1.9 tires, not the 2.2s. This is running the waterproof 2.4 gigahertz. We have inner fenders. Now this thing is, what I could say about this beast is really that it is super scale. You actually have steel frame and as well as not having portal axles in the back and front so that you have more clearance. We have all this typical Traxxas stuff as well as the aluminum GTS shocks. And well, let's just get into this thing, right? So they talk a lot about the portals, increasing the clearance. Now, I don't know if it's going to really compete, so to speak, with the tried and true SCX-10, and I don't know if that's necessarily what they wanted. Traxxas put the 2-speed on here for if you want to trail. Like, you can even set a cruise control and kind of just lock it in if you're going to do a caravan or something like that. Now, that's something that I thought was a pretty neat feature. Maybe it's like an old guy feature, but I thought it was pretty cool. Hopefully this should be gray, as that is the color I requested. It is, and it's also upside down. So let's just move this the other way. Oh, I missed that new RC smell. And you'll note that, without Brandon, we won't have all the necessarily technical details, but I'll do the best I can to try and keep up. Let's get this. We've got usually these body pins. Boy, it's good to be back. And it was nice. I actually picked up 2 RCs when I was there. So you're going to have to wait and see what the second kit I purchased was. It was something new and something that was kind of interesting to me. So let's look at the body. Underneath, we've actually got a pretty thick Lexan. This really reminds me of the Summit in a lot of ways. But you've got these reinforced wheel hubs so you're not like blasting through the Lexan. So that's pretty nice. And you've got spots for LEDs already kind of pre-set up where LEDs can go in. This is pretty nice. You've got a lot of detail on the back there. Now working some close-ups as well. And inside here we have basically what is crazy to me is, first of all, the fact that we still see a Traxxas XL5. Now this is the high voltage, meaning we can go all the way up to a 3S LiPo, but this is not really built for speed. I'm thinking you might go 10 miles an hour. But we do have, I like where they mounted the battery tray here, so it's nice and centered. We have the mini servos. We have the center mount drive shaft in the back and the offset in the front. We've got metal links here. Metal frame. This really reminds me of, I'm sorry, these are not the turning servos. These are the servos for the transmission, for the high and low. So you can basically have like that low crawling setup, or you can also have kind of that cruising speed. Like, this is not for people that want to go burning around. It's for people that like a scale kit. Now you have the Titan 550 can 21 turn motor. So pretty standard motor, but tried and true. Looks like we got the 2075X metal gear. That's the standard. I think they've been using that servo for, geez, I don't know, probably 10 or more years. I feel like I remember that on my initial Slash. You get the 2.4 gigahertz. I like a lot of these little touches here. The little tow bars or tow hooks. You have a fake winch here. I would love to put a real winch on here. Big fan of that. Same thing on the rear. And you've got these hubs too, which you can notice. I don't know if I can get a great shot of them. But inside the wheel, you've got, it allows for that added clearance without making it too top heavy. The stock setup on these shocks feels pretty tight. I mean, the articulation is not great out of the box, but again, I don't know. I don't know what my expectations are, but they're, at least as it stands right now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it as like, I wanted to buy a SCX-10 along with it, so I could kind of compare the two, but I need to do some more research and really find out if that's even what Traxxas wants, because I was worried about this high body. It really seems like we have a really high body, and I was worried about maybe a high center of gravity. So as I was watching some running footage, it didn't seem too top heavy. It worries me to have these big wheel wells, but if you look, the wheels can really articulate a long way inside the hubs. And then you actually have what's cool is a functional spare on the back here. You've got a little attention to detail with the jack, and you've got the gas cans. That's pretty cool. Little touches like that. You've got the kind of the rack on top here, which you could put some scale stuff on if you want. Overall, pretty interesting little kit. Feels very well made, and I don't really expect anything less from Traxxas, but it feels like they went above and beyond with this kit in terms of just how beefy. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It just feels really beefy. So I'm really looking forward to running this kit, getting you all some running footage, and then as soon as Axial gets their poop in a group and I get an SCX-10 in, I will try to do a more side-by-side comparison, because I think for most people, that is a decision they will have to make. I mean, ideally you'll have them both, but I think most people will have to choose between them. So I think acknowledging that up front and seeing how they compare and balancing their pros and cons against each other, I think would make for a really interesting video, something hopefully all of you will like. So I put up, or it was put up or shut up, and so I put up, even though the set isn't done yet. What do you want to see on this kit? What do you want to see me run through? What kind of questions do you have that I can answer after I've run it? I know it's pretty new, so I'm really happy to get my hands on it early. I'm going to get this thing charged up, so I'm ready to go tomorrow and take it out for a little